Hi, I'm Joe from School of Rock North Buffalo. When we're not making musicians, we're also fixing gear. So if you have a guitar or bass in need of love, if you need new strings, please bring it in. We'll be more than happy to help you. So not only do we do instruction and performance-based music, we also fix gear. So please bring it down to 9310 Trents Road, East Amherst, or you can give me a call at 716-317-7625. Again, School of Rock North Buffalo. We make musicians and we fix your gear.
On this episode, Steve Brown from Trixter.
Okay, joining us now, we have one of the most busy individuals in rock and roll today. So lucky to have him here back with us. Joining us now, Steve Brown from Trixter. Steve, how are you, man?
I'm good. Yeah, great to see you, brother, and everybody out there in the rock and roll interweb world. Here we are,
definitely
talking about rock.
Definitely talk about rock. And today's a very significant day in Trixter history, right? So right now it's April 24th, 2025, but 13 years ago, you guys released New Audio Machine on Frontier Records, man, to this day.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that's 13 years ago. And the coolest thing about it, I saw that this morning. One of my friends, Mitch LaFon, sent it to me, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know. But it's an amazing thing happened when we made that record, because it took a couple years to convince the guys to really do it, because we got back together in 2008, and it was by like 2010 I started getting the itch, because we started playing shows, and the vibe in the band was so good, all four of us, the original guys, back together, and we were just so happy to be playing. And we still, we started out with a bang. We did some big festivals, and there was such a great energy, and I think we all believed we were as good, if not better, than we were back in the day. And so there was a newfound energy. But again, man, having my studio here, I'm always working, always writing songs. And, lo and behold, I stumbled upon one of the old songs that I wrote back in 93 with a fellow New Jerseyite musician, Glenn Burtnick. And it was the song Drag Me Down. And I listened to that and I was like, man, this is the song that would be the perfect start off for a new Trixter record. And I worked on it. I sent it to Pete. He put some vocals on it, and it was really, it was that was the song that sparked it up. And then what came next was Tattoos and Misery. So, just so proud of that record, and it launched. It helped us show everybody that, first off, we just weren't in it for an easy cash grab, but that we were truly here, back playing together, and most importantly, making great new music together, which is something, I'm still to this day a strong believer in.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I thought was pretty interesting about that album was you guys had a track on there, Walk with a Stranger.
Yeah.
Which was an unused Skid Row track, I believe, written by Rachel and Snake. So you guys, tell us, can you remember a little bit about how that came about at all, or?
Well, yeah, what's funny about Walk with a Stranger is we used to do that back in, I think we started playing that in like 1988, 89, right when PJ joined the band. We had been friends with Snake and Rachel since John Bon Jovi introduced us, and John told those guys, make sure you take care of Steve and the Trixter guys. That was sort of the, John was the godfather, and, and Snake.
Yeah, they were blowing up huge in the day. It was just like crazy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you were in New Jersey, so it had to even be bigger there, right?
Yeah, I was a Bon Jovi fan from day one. And for us as a band, Trixter, Bon Jovi was one of the bands that we modeled ourselves after. It was Kiss, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, Def Leppard, and Bon Jovi. If you put all those together, that's at least what I tried to do as far as making my rock and roll stew. It was those bands. So Before Slippery When Wet took off, though, we had met John and we gave him our original Trixter demo tape, and he was cool enough to call us and leave a message on our hotline, Pete's home number, which was the Trixter hotline back in the day. All you girls remember. But so John was the first guy, and I say it all the time, and I love John. He's, still a friend to this day. He was the first guy who really believed in us, legitimate rock star. But it was before Slippery took off. And it was Meadowlands Arena, New Year's Eve, Cinderella, Skid Row, 1986 into 87 was when John introduced us backstage at the Meadowlands. John introduced us to Snake, Rachel, Scotty, and Rob, I believe, was there. And we coincidentally had a gig with them a couple months later where we were opening for the original Skid Row, and this was before Sebastian was in the band. It was when the original singer Matt Fallon was there. And so again, the history of us, they're like our big brothers, Snake and Rachel. We love them, all the guys. And but Walk with a Stranger was, that was a song they did, and I remember that night with the original singer when they played that song. I was like, that's the best song. But looking forward, to the original, the debut album, you could hear that song definitely was more Trixter Bon Jovi style than it was a Skid Row song.
Right. They wanted a harder edge when they came out. It was a lot grittier and a lot harder edge that they came out with. Yeah.
Totally. So I was like, I told those guys, I'm like, hey man, can we have that song? And they were like, sure, do it. It'll be better for you guys anyway. So lo and behold, it took 30-something years or 20-something years later to get it on a record, but we finally recorded it, and we're happy we did because it was always a great song. It was just a matter of finding the right. We changed the key of it. We brought the key down a little bit so it wasn't in the vocal stratosphere for Pete, but always a great song. And I still have the Skid Row demo of the original demo with Matt Fallon singing it, and then the original Sebastian version that he actually sang when they did a live in the studio before they cut their first album. So
yeah, when I talked to Rachel a while back, they have to be a little so sick of the controversy that goes back and forth on all their stuff, right? Bring Sebastian back, no, get a different singer. These guys have definitely had some strange luck with things, no doubt, with singers, right? It's been, I don't know what you want to call it. Hard luck, but they've persevered,
Yeah, of course. But, look, man, we all, us musicians who have been through the ringer, if you will, the ups and downs, the lefts and rights, the potholes, the everything, the glory and the fall, everything. This is part of it. They're going through a tough time right now finding a new singer. And look, man, those guys are our bros, and I'm happy for them any which way they decide to go. As always, like I tell those, I tell Snake and Rachel when I see them, I'm still one of your biggest fans, because, even though we were friends, I still loved their music and was so happy to see when they blew up and became successful. Also, because I knew we were going to be next in line.
You're next in line waiting on that. Yeah, and Rachel's really, really interesting. He was kind of giving me a little bit of bird's eye view, a little bit into his songwriting process, and then I think he had just watched a Beatles documentary or something, and we started talking about that, how he kind of took some hints from that and his writing. And I really look forward to what's next. What's the next chapter for them,
Of course, and it'll be great. They learned as, from John and the great songwriters, but John, the one advice he always gave me, and I think he gave to those guys as well, it's all about the songs. Write great songs, try to write great lyrics, and that's all I've ever done, followed that advice, try to tell a unique story. Whether it's Give It To Me Good, which is, again, it's a little tongue in cheek, but it's very much the life we were living at that time as an 18-year-old. I wrote that song in 15 minutes and it changed all of our lives, but it has some, deep lyrics in it. But it's much different than, let's say, something like One in a Million or Surrender, which is, heartfelt love songs, but it's always about a great lyric, and, I'm proud of that fact, that the Trixter catalog, whether it's the first record here, New Audio Machine, Human Era, that, we still always continued to grow and write great songs. And that's, getting back to New Audio Machine 13 years later, that was the goal. And I told the guys, once we had Drag Me Down, Tattoos and Misery, and Machine, I knew we were onto something special. And I told the guys, I said, listen, man, just trust me on this, because they still weren't convinced, because we were doing it like one song at a time.
Right.
Once we got a couple of them done, I could see the change in everyone going, wow, this is really good. And it turned out to be even better. I think it's a great record. And, I said it back then and I'll say it again. I think it's as good, if not better, than the first two albums that we did back in the 90s. So, that's always the goal. I mean, for me as a songwriter and a producer, my goal always is to do the best that I can possibly be and try to make music that's better than what I made in the past.
Definitely. Always want to try to improve and move forward. And you're so busy. I think when we last talked to you, you guys had just put out the Ace Frehley 10,000 Volts album, that you produced and you played on and everything. And you were just ramping up on that. That was the last time we spoke to you. So can you catch us up a little bit? I know you guys had a lot of shows from then, and there's a lot of stuff going on, but that's the last time we kind of had a chance to catch up with you on the show.
Yeah, and since then, so yeah, the thank you for the accolades and the response of the 10,000 Volts record. I mean, it speaks for itself. It was just Ace and I were both blown away by it. Of course, it wasn't without some controversy. I think we all underestimated the pandemonium of the Kiss fans and the Kiss army, if you will. But, look, we live in this world, this clickbait world where guys in podcasts or whatever, you give them an interview and then all of a sudden they decide to fuck you and they decide to turn on you for some reason and put out clickbait stuff that, oh, this happened and this. And
yeah, I keep a close eye on that stuff and on all my transcripts. If something that, Blabbermouth or somebody else picks up, if that's not what was stated during the show, I send them a letter and say, you know what? That's not what's transcribed. You need to remove that.
Well, again, it's the world we live in, and whether it's music, any sort of entertainment, sports, politics, people, and it needs to be policed because, in the world, basically anybody can claim to be some sort of reporter or a news source and throw out any headline, and people actually fucking believe it.
Yeah.
But long story short, dude, Ace and I made a great record and just so proud of it. I mean, for me, it was a dream come true to work with one of my heroes. And he started working on, him and I are not working on the new Origins 3 record. He's back with his old producer, Alex Saltzman, which is great because Alex did the first two. So it's perfect. And then, I've been working on new ideas for when Ace and I get back to doing a new original record, hopefully next year.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I thought it was great. All the Ace fans really dug it. It was definitely what you guys had promised. Every song we wanted to be killer, and that's what you came out with. And I know I keep an eye on you too. I know you've been working on stuff. I know you guys are working on new stuff for Trixter.
Yes,
I know you are. So I'm gonna have to bug you about that a little bit because I see you doing tracks.
Some lyrics quick. Here's some lyrics, but yeah. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I've talked about it before, and at this point, I have enough material for 2 records right now. I've been just on such a creative burn, and look, man, as much as I love touring and playing live, being in the studio is also my home. It's great having a studio in your house, but I love, to be able to do that. So when we got done with when I got done with the Wizards of Winter tour at the end of 2024, I had, we weren't doing anything with Trixter for 2 months. So I had this time, and every day I just went down and chopped away and got the songs ready. So, right now I got about 15 songs in what I call the work phase, where I don't do demos, but when I record everything, I kind of record everything, that if I want to use a part here and I want to use a part there, it's basically building a house as we go. So what I call it now, I have the foundation of probably 15 or 16 songs ready to go. And again, I'll say it, it's as good, if not better, than anything we've ever done, but I'm really excited. I played some of the stuff for PJ, and I think he was really blown away. And and it's going to be unique, because it's going to be the first record with me primarily singing lead vocals. PJ is going to sing a couple songs, but it's a new configuration, and it's a new sort of Trixter that we've been out doing this without Pete and the old drummer. And so it's there's a lot to prove in my world, and I can promise you will not be let down.
Awesome. We really look forward to that, coming out. Definitely very good, very cool. So as we're ramping up things, we know summertime is coming. Shows are coming for you. Let's talk about M3, right? You're going to be out at M3. What's going on out there with you?
Yeah, man, I'm going to be out there all weekend. So next Thursday is the pre-kickoff party that my good friend Pete Evick from the Bret Michaels Band. We're going to be doing this acoustic show with a bunch of special guests. Shh, who's going to show up? I don't know.
Well, I think I know one. Bad Marriage might be out there.
Wink and a smile, hibbity bobbity bep. We're trying to get Mr. Humala Bibala Sumala Dibala.
Oh yeah, Mr. DLR Diamond Dave is making an appearance. This will be interesting. I think a lot of folks will be having a lot of eyes on that to see what Dave brings to the party.
But yeah, so we start there. I got that Thursday night, and then I'm doing another after party Saturday night. But I'm going to be hanging all weekend. Tons of my friends are going to be there, and Ace is playing on Sunday, and of course I'm really looking forward to seeing Dave. Dave is certainly one of my big influences. The Van Halen camp, and my friendship with Al and Ed. And to see Dave again, it's been a long time, so it's going to be wild. I'm hoping, and I'm not hoping that he wears that yellow suit that he's been wearing, but I hope he pulls out some of the old skin tight leather pants and gets back to the old Diamond Dave that we love. But it's gonna be a party. The M3 is always great. Trixter's, we've had been fortunate enough to play it probably 3 or 4 times, and I played it. Last time I played it was with Tokyo Motor Fist back in, I think, 2022. That was, so always a great time.
Yeah, that looks very, very cool. And you got some other dates here we want to talk about as well.
Yeah.
So it looks like June 5th, you're going to be out with our friends Hair Nation at Buncey's Bandstand in Webster, New York, who are friends of us also. That sounds like that's going to be a great time. It's a great place. I don't know if you've got a chance to play there as of yet. It's a very cool club.
Yeah, we did. We played it. When did we play it? We played it last November, beginning of November, the end of last year's tour. And, last 2024, Trixter did 56 shows. And so it was a monumental year for us. And this year we are on track. We just finished another 4-week run that took us out to the West Coast with Pretty Boy Floyd, Christian Shields, and Enough's Enough. We've been doing this tour called The Spirit of 1989. And it's been so much fun. And it's been great to, get out there and really tour, because for the last 15 years, I've been doing, like with Trixter, the weekend warrior stuff where we're flying on the weekends. But PJ had the foresight last year. He's like, hey, man, I got something in my head. I want to run past you. I want to see if you want to try doing a tour. And we did this first one last year, right about this time, or, May, June of 2024. We did something like 20 shows. And it was the first time, again, it was the longest I've toured in a real long time. And I had the time of my life, and it was better than I ever imagined. So we did another one in September with Pretty Boy Floyd, Enough's Enough, and Band Inc. And then this year we started again. And, here we are, 25 shows in already. And it's looking like we got, another big year for Trixter. So 41 years later, dude, who would have thought?
Right, who would have thought? I know you guys have so much energy on stage. I think I last caught you guys. You're in at the Rome Capitol Theater, Rome, New York, playing with Mr. Big out there. I think it was last year.
Yes.
for their farewell type of tour thing. But that was a great show. Love that theater. Love that performance was excellent out there, man.
Oh, that was a good one. That was when the smoke machine went haywire and we had smoke. It was like, dude, I kept looking over to PJ and like looking around. I go, are we getting filmed for the new Spinal Tap movie? 'Cause this is
Right.
I've never seen that much smoke on stage. I thought like Eric and Billy Sheehan were.
Well, you guys hit it well because you just kept playing and it looked like it was part of the show, and that's kind of how you have to do those things, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so we're really excited, man. We love playing with the Hair Nation guys. Jim Crean, he's awesome, and we did some shows last year with those guys, and so we got 3 shows up in your neck of the woods, upstate New York, and again, brother, look, after, like I said, I started Trixter in 1984. So 41 years, we're headed into the 41st year of Trixter and still having the best time. And to be out there with PJ, my best friend, my brother, and be able to bring the music to the people, and, though it's not how we envisioned it 15 years ago, we thought it would be all the original guys, but you know how that movie ends a lot of times. It's hard keeping 4 guys together, and sadly, but PJ and I are going out there and keeping the spirit and the heart and soul alive and well.
Yeah, you guys are definitely doing that. Your list of tours, your dates is growing here. You got another date, June 7th, again with Hair Nation, Sunset Bay Beach Club, Irving, New York. I'll be out there to see you guys at that show again. Dave Constantino from Dave Constantino Band, Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. He'll be there as well. Obviously, Jim Crean's Hair Nation. That'll be a fantastic show. Another one,
Yeah, I mean, we love, again, it's always great playing shows with bands that we're friends with. And because we have that camaraderie, that when, especially back in the old days when we were touring with Warrant and Firehouse and we were on the Blood, Sweat, and Beer tour, we would do the thing at the end of the show where everybody come out and jam. And we do the same thing now. We did it on the Spirit of 1989 tour. We're going to do it again. I was texting Jim the other day. I'm like, dude, we're doing Dirty Deeds from, Undercovers, the Trixter Undercovers record as our last. You got to come up, bring the guys and sing, and I think it's one of those things that's kind of missing in rock and roll, that the brotherhood, sisterhood. I don't care if it's an all-girl band, we like bringing everybody up to jam. And you could see some of the footage from our tours when we were finishing the show with either Rock and Roll All Night or Dirty Deeds. The fans just love it. And, like I said, it's something that's kind of missing from rock and roll. You don't see too many of the big bands.
That's what I was just going to say. You don't see big names doing that, right? If you're an opener, you might not even see the headliner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might not even be in the building till they have to play,
Sadly, that's kind of the way it is. So we like to keep, like I said, we keep the old school spirit alive, the blood, sweat, and beers vibe, bringing everybody out. Let's have a party. Even if your fucking guitars, I tell everybody, even if your guitar is not plugged in, who cares? Just get out on stage and jump around. Chips enough is great at that.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
Put on bass and I'll put the guitar on upside down and he'll play it. It's such a good time. But again, that's the spirit of what we love to do, and we love to give everybody a little bit of the spotlight as well. Bring it, during our show, bring the opening acts. And we even did that with Crean last year. Trixter, actually, we opened for them because it was like a Halloween party, and we went on early and we hung around, and then PJ and I went up and jammed with his band and did, I think we did Crazy Train and we did something else. But it's one of those cool things, and we know the fans enjoy it and we love to do it as well, so that's equally as important.
Yeah, definitely very cool. So folks out there, definitely you don't want to miss Trixter this time around. Go to TrixterRocks.com. You can check out the tour dates. Very, very cool. All right, so this wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thank you very much to my guest today, Steve Brown from Trixter. Look for the new Trixter album soon. We will be, and we'll see you guys out there this summer. Next year? We got to wait till next year?
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Don't be starting that rumor now, man. Next year, maybe. I don't know.
All right, guys. Maybe next year. Send your emails to TrixterRocks.com. No, not just kidding. All right, man. Steve, have a good night, man.
Thank you, brother. I got it.